Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial of the Java programming tutorial series. Now this is tutorial number 2, and today what we're going to be covering is I'm just going to be going over what I told you guys last time. Now what I said last time is that if you put your code outside the main method, then the program doesn't execute, or you won't get any returns. So what I'm going to show you guys today is how you can put your code outside the main method but still have it execute the way you wanted it to execute. So another thing I'm going to show you is an IDE, which is an integrated development environment, and this basically means that you can write your code, compile your code, and run your code all within one program. So you don't have to go CMD and go to the directory and then compile it and then run it through there. It's all in one neat program and it's already done for you. Now the IDE I'm going to be showing you today is Eclipse. So you want to go to www.eclipse.org. and this will take you to this page over here. Now the reason I'm using Eclipse is because I'm most familiar with it and I really like it as opposed to NetBeans and some other IDEs. But NetBeans is more along the lines of graphical user interface where you have to drag and drop buttons and then just code what the buttons do, similar to that of Visual Basic but for Java. So what you want to do when you get to this page is you want to click Downloads. Once you're on Downloads, you'll get a list of options, as you can see over here. But the option you're looking for is Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers. Now you're going to choose the one that applies to you, which is either 32 or 64-bit, but because I have a 64-bit system, I'm going to choose the 64-bit option. And once you've got that downloaded, it will come in a zip archive like this one I have over here. Now mine only looks like this is because I have WinRAR. If you don't have WinRAR, then it'll just be a plain folder with a zip down the middle, and you'll still have to do it the same way as I do. If you right click on it, you'll be presented with the option to extract here, extract files, or in the default Windows 7 or Windows options you get extract all. So what you want to do is you just want to click extract here if you have WinRAR and extract all if you have the default. And once that has extracted, you'll be given a folder like this. Now what's in the folder is just all the files and folders that you need to run the Eclipse IDE. Now it's not something you need to install, you can just run it straight off and you'll get the Eclipse IDE. So what I recommend doing for you guys, just to stop it taking up space on your desktop, I actually recommend copying it to your program files or cutting it to your program files. And that's what I did, and I think it's much neater that way, and I know that it's a program and it's already there. So you just have to cut it and press paste, and that will be in your program files. Now I've already got it there, so I won't be doing it, but you guys won't be presented with that screen. So once you've done that, you can open up Eclipse from the folder in your program files, or you can right click when you're in your program files, press send to, and then desktop, and then you'll get something like me where you have a desktop icon of the Eclipse IDE program. So you just want to double click that, and then you'll see this interface, and then it starts loading all the modules that it needs to compile and run your application. Now when you come up with a workspace launcher, you just want to press OK, because it doesn't really matter where the files go. If you're worried about where the files go, then you can obviously choose something that you like, but just leave it default and let it run. Now as you can see here, it's loading, and then you will get the main window. Now I've already used Eclipse before to make the Hello World application, and I'll show you what I mean by it looks much neater than Notepad++ or normal Notepad. And if you see here, this is the Hello World application that we created in the last video, and how you run this is you just press the little play button over here, and then you'll get Hello World. So you don't have to leave and you don't have to go into CMD and compile the Java file to get a class file. This one does it straight for you, so this is why I like an IDE more than Notepad and compiling it. Excuse me. So what you want to do is you want to create file and then new Java project. Now the name of the Java project, you can name it whatever you would like, but for the purpose of today I'm just going to be naming it let's say reference, because in a way we'll be referencing what's outside the main class in the main class, so it's an executable program. Now what you want to do once you've got the reference folder is you want to click the little drop down arrow, and then where you see source there'll be another drop down arrow, and you just click that and you see default packages. So what you want to do on source is you just want to right click, and then this will come up, and then you want to go to new and then class. Now we're creating a class because as I said before, Java programs can only be executed in class files, and we don't need to go through the trouble of having .java files because it already does it for us as default. So we just click class files, and here you can just name whatever your class file will be. So remember, the file name of the class file will be the same as the class title inside the actual code, and I'll show you what I mean. So for the purpose of today, I'm going to be calling it reference once again, and then you just press finish. Now, as you can see, it has already named the public class for us, and it's already called it what the file name is. So it's essential that the public class has the same name as your file name, otherwise the code won't execute. So, like our previous one, we're just going to start off with what every code starts off and define our main method. And this is done by public static void main string args open square bracket, close square bracket, and then the two curly brackets. And then this is where our code will go. Now, what I meant by whatever we put outside, what I meant by whatever we put outside the main class, if I show you an example and we type in public static void, and then say our method is going to be called message, and the two curly arrows, and let's just say type our message firstly, and then we get our speech marks, and then we type reference completed, or whatever message you want, it doesn't matter. But here we've defined another method, and in that method it's telling the system to just produce a message called reference completed. Now if you try and run this, you'll see that nothing happens. Now this is because, like I said in my previous tutorial, anything that happens outside the main class has to be referenced, because if it's not in the main class, then the Java program doesn't execute it. And this reasoning is because the Java virtual machine always looks on your line of code for the word main, and anything with the word main in it, it registers from that class and runs the program from that method. So how we're gonna reference this into our main class is quite simple, it's quite neat, and that's why I'm showing it to you guys. So if you don't like having lots of codes in your main class, you can just have one simple line and then the codes underneath. So the way we do this is, as you've seen, we've typed public static void message. Now if you'd like to know what public static void is, for those of you who haven't watched my previous tutorial, public means it's accessed by any part of the code, and static void message just means that once the code is executed, it will have no return. And message is just the name of our method. So what we're going to do in our main method is we want to reference our message method. So the way we do this is we just simply type message, which is our method name, and then break, and that's it. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is just write your main method, and then outside your two curly brackets of your main method, start another method without the word main in it, otherwise you'll have two conflicting methods. So if you start another method, you just type public static void, and then whatever method you want it to be called, and then your code. And then you just have to reference it in your main method by just typing the name of the method you've used. So if we run this now, you'll see that it says reference completed. And so what you guys have actually done is you've referenced your method, which is outside the main method, and so the Java virtual machine can read it. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've taken away something from this. In our next tutorial, I'll be covering the multiple classes and how you can reference your main class and your main method into another class of another method. So stay tuned for more, and hopefully you guys will be with me in my next tutorial. I haven't left a presentation for this one specifically because it's quite simple, and I don't think there's much to be said for this one, but for the next one there'll definitely be a presentation, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. So I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye bye.